which side of that one?
Yeah.
So it forces you to go down the right route, and I found myself in several scenarios of going, right, okay, I really do need to bar back and power off, otherwise I'm just not going to come down. I really
You didn't believe me, did you?
Yeah, I know. It was just floating around.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Welcome to my channel again. And in this video, we're basically going to be talking about Sub70 Flexwing and the ideal route into it. You may have come across a few of my videos with Mark, and we never really discussed it. And I thought this would be a good time to sort of get his thoughts on the ideal route into Sub70 and how we should go about it within the confines of what we can do in the UK. So anyway, most people watching this channel, Mark, have actually seen many of your debriefs where you've given me a damn good grilling for getting things wrong and I had to be a better pilot. But for those that haven't seen you, can you just give those that watch my channel a little bit more about you and basically just introduce yourself, please?
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Hilton. I am the Chief Flying Instructor for Airways Microlight Training. We are based at Darley-Moor Airfield, which is in Derbyshire in the UK, for those across the pond. I've been flying for about 12 years now, instructing for about 10. I fly pretty much everything that has wings. I have my favorites. I have my not so favorites. But to be honest, the thing I enjoy most of all is instruction. Really enjoy the theory side of things and developing skills and learning new things. So, that's kind of me, really.
So in that over a decade really of flying, when did you start, and what was that moment where you go, I want to go flying and just carry on flying?
I think if anyone who's sort of taken aviation that next sort of step has never really got it was a defining moment. It just is. I took my first flying lesson as a birthday present, a typical trial flight when I was 17 or 18. And to be honest, I consider my route a very typical route of going through aviation, because it didn't take me long at 17 or 18 to work out that I couldn't afford it. And it was
I've been there.
Yeah, I want to do that,
really
but I can't
really
afford
quick.
it. Yeah, and unfortunately, and as was the case with me, I instantly disregarded it as something I couldn't afford to do, and went off and did other things, which turned out to be everything sort of aviation related, other than actually getting off my feet off the ground. So I got massively into power kiting. So I really did a lot of land buggying and scudding. That was good fun. And then into model planes and helicopters and all of that kind of stuff, and just
they're almost as expensive as the full size, aren't they?
Well, I didn't realize that at the time. That's the crazy thing. I always say I made two mistakes. One was to write down how much it was costing me, and the other one was to show the wife. And then it worked out. I worked out that actually I could afford to start taking flying lessons by not doing remote control helicopters. It's just like, if I stop doing this, I can afford to do that. And that's how I discovered microlighting, or ultralighting for wherever you are. And all of a sudden, though, it's like, actually, not only is the training affordable, the aircraft are actually affordable as well. And this is where I start becoming really sort of old school, of going, I like XLs, I like thrusters, I like AX2s, all those sort of old, what were classed as old school now, sort of microlights. Not because they're skin of the teeth kind of flying and, flying field to field, because it's affordable. You can buy, a two-stroke Flexwing microlight, for £2,000-3,000.
Really?
That's affordable. It's not
that's
like
cheaper than a paramotor, right? I'm posting. I'm going to post this on the paramotor forum and just see what the response is.
You paramotor pilots, you got some serious money. I couldn't start, But no, I mean that's where it is, and that was then. I thought, I went through the Flexwing route, learned how to Flexwing, still sort of casting a shadow over onto the 3-axis microlight.
Yeah.
And still going, well, you know what, that's sort of the next step up in price bracket. And again, I have another route that I went down, which again is a really sort of classical one. But it took me sort of to the point of not flying again to get back into tuition and learning fixed wing or 3-axis, a sports like sort of aviation, to re-enthuse sort of flying. And then it was like, wow, this is great. And then I went full hog and went down the commercial route and went crazy about it and tried to sell a house. And I really used my sort of journey and the way that I was taught, and certainly my experiences of a low-houred pilot as a very classical sort of scenario. And it's amusing now, sort of sitting my side. I keep saying my side of the desk, sort of at my side of the controls, as it were, and seeing so many other people being on that same journey that I was. But don't get me wrong, you get a percentage of those people that will just dive into it and they're 100% and this and that, and they'll get this sorted and I need that, and they're flying every weekend. But in reality, that's not the norm, And one of my favorite questions I love to ask students is, how many hours are you going to fly a year once you qualified? Oh, I'm going to do hundreds. It's like, oh, okay.
Welcome to the UK flying.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch my me's and mine. But yeah, no, that's my background. I'm not pretend. I don't pretend to be a sky god. I don't pretend to be important. I don't pretend that I know more than everybody else. And I am but a mecca of aviation. I know where I know, and what I don't know, I don't know. And I teach friends to fly, and this is again hence your journey.
Yeah.
Traveling all the way from where you are to all the way where we are.
Yeah.
It's because me and you got on, and it was going to make it a lot easier. And it's such an important part of learning to fly, to get on with your instructor.
Yeah. So the whole point about this video is to discuss Sub70 training. Now you've had the pleasure, and a little birdie has told me you may have ordered a PB. I'm sure it'll come in unique custom colours, or will be micro maintenance to the Hilton. But I kind of think there's, in my mind, there is 3 routes, and I'm sure you'll either correct me or confirm my theory. And in all my flying training, I kind of use the underpinning pieces. You don't know what you don't know, and you'll do something if you don't know. So technically, the Sub70 training is, you don't need any. You need insurance to fly, but there's nobody saying you must have training to go and fly this thing. There's the BHPA route and there's the BMAA route, as far as I understand it. Is that correct in that assumption?
Yeah, I think it's near on impossible just to plonk someone and go, there are 3 routes, pick one. Because, if you're in a fair race, then yes, but people are coming into this sport now from different avenues. And as you know, there's people who probably want to progress further, that going down one route might hinder them.
Yeah.
And so, yes, let's talk of a 0-hour pilot. I've seen these PBs flying around. I want one. And I say PBs, I should say 70s. But if you're going to fly
Sub70
Flexwing, you should only
Flexwing,
fly a PB. That's the word. But if you want to fly one of these, you're 0 hours, you're not really aware of training. Yes, you can go out and buy one. Try and get insurance, of which I'm sure there are a number of vendors out there to supply. Take off your machine, and we'll read about you maybe in an hour or so later. I could, a bit harsh, but I could not deter people from going down that route enough. Anything. It's like buying a car and going, oh, I don't need a driving license. I'll be all right. You are going to come a cropper. You are going to have an incident, and if you haven't got the right background and training, it's going to go one or 2 ways. We, as instructors, and certainly whether you're BHPA, BMEA, don't want those incidents to happen at all. It's not a case of, oh, he's one of those boys, or there's no different camps. We enjoy aviation. So for me to jump in a machine, whether you're allowed to or not, with zero training and going flying just seems such a crazy route. So in my personal opinion, there are only the two routes. There's either going down the BMEA route or the BHBA route. And that then leads you again onto the different starting points. Because if I was 0 hours, which route could you go for? You could go down the BHBA route or the BMEA route. But what is it you want to ultimately achieve? If you want to get in the air quickly and fly around, maybe the BHBA route might be the route for you. But if you're looking maybe to go a little bit further and using it as a rung, it seems daft not to go down the BMEA route. And like yourself, you'd already got a power rating through the BHBA.
Yeah.
So all you needed was different training to go onto a Sub70.
Yeah.
And then what we did, obviously, was the next route. You kind of stepped over and then, not say change ladders, but that fork in the road came around and you went down your particular avenue. But I mean, we leave it down. We discuss the options with people who come to us regarding Sub70 and just say, Luke, this is what you can do. We do, sort of 5 hours of dual training, following the BMEA syllabus. And ultimately, we're looking for people to get to that point of solo. Now, if you were coming down the BMEA syllabus, the thoughts of someone going solo within 5 hours, it's hard to imagine. You're talking a considerable number of hours before someone is likely to go solo.
Right.
But I mean, as you know, and as I know, a Sub70 machine is completely different to a 2-seat MPPL, like a Quantum or a GT. They've got the same wing, same controls, but a Sub70 is considerably easier to fly.
I found that when I went from the Explorer that Jim was teaching me on to the PB, it was like, wow, this bar moves. It's not as quick. It lands at a third of the landing speed. There's just and there's no energy. Where's the energy gone? There's nothing left.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think having an appreciation of things like the energy or attitude or following it around, actually the Sub70 forces you down a route of actually flying correctly. And this is on when I took yours for a quick spin. Is what I found. It's like, right, I'm flat out. I want to increase my climb rate. The inside of that one.
Yeah.
So it forces you to go down the right route. And I found myself in several scenarios of going, right, okay, I really do need to bar back and power off, otherwise I'm just not going to come down. I really
you didn't believe me, did you?
I know. It was just floating around. and certainly as an instructor on the ground, watching a student going solo for the first time, it's very reassuring knowing that the aircraft they're in is reliable, dependable, and an easy machine to fly. And that's where it goes. So once someone gets to that sort of solo status, and that they're going to be okay and react correctly in a bad situation, we then give them the option of either continuing down the MPPL route and getting even a restricted MPPL, or I hand them over to our BHPA side, and they'll work towards them so they can get a power rating.
And that's all achievable where you are, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're one of few sites that tick every box of sport aviation.
Yeah. I mean, one of my questions, I think you've answered it, but maybe it's not specific enough. If someone was to go down the no training route, what do you think the biggest gotcha is going to be?
Christ, the list is infinite. I think they'll scare themselves off the ground quite well, and get to a point. I think. I don't know. My concern is not knowing the limitations of an aircraft.
Yeah.
And trying to take off in conditions that they're unsure of. And then what comes with that is not knowing the performance of the aircraft.
Yeah.
I've
had a flashback to those magnificent men in their flying machines where the Germans getting the book out, and it's to the section that says landing.
Landing, yeah, right. What do I do now? Yeah, you can see it. I mean, we're going back to the days when people were buying machines off of eBay and taking off at the local golf course, and all of those incidents that we all can read about on any forum at any time we choose,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think the biggest one is not knowing the performance limitations of the aircraft, not really understanding, the crosswind or headwind components, trying to get in fields that are too short, trying to climb out of fields that are surrounded by trees.
Yeah.
All of these sort of things are basic stuff that if you've had an ounce of training, you become a little bit more aware of, and that in itself is worth, well, that will save your life.
Cool.
And I know me and you touched on several things, and we pushed you particularly on some of the stuff that we knew you hadn't really spent much time in.
And I was thankful of that.
Yeah, because it would be easy. You could see that scenario coming about. If you're in a spiral dive and you don't know how to recover from one, then you're gonna face plant the ground, really hard.
Because the natural instincts of a 3-axis pilot in my world at spiral is, it's that reducing the speed, and part of that is actually pulling back. Well, in the Flexwing, that's pushing out, but that actually exacerbates it. So the actual natural response to recover from that is opposite from 3-axis.
And like I say, this is where my sort of my love of training and really sort of getting to grips with the theory of aviation really sort of pushes forward, because all you need to do is understand the basics. No one's asking you to get a degree in aerodynamics. You need to understand how lift works, or more importantly, how lift works in a turn, and what happens to weight in a climb or in a descent, and all of those sort of things. The real sort of basic aviation theory is better than having none at all and going, oh, I'll be all right. I'll just take it round the block.
Yeah. I mean, we're never all going to have the Paul Dewhurst and Ben Ashman brain of how a Flexwing works, are we? But actually, the training is enough to get to that.
I mean, and to be honest, since we did, the stuff with yourself, I've had quite a few people. In fact, we've got 2 now in the hangar that have arrived, and these are people who are coming from. I know, and we've got someone who's got a GT450 and a PB. Like, why? But he sticks his PB on the back of his camper van and goes and travels up to Scotland, and it's like, yeah, that's what it's all about. And we've also got some of the fixed wing and GA guys who are going, actually, that not only is it affordable, but it's attainable. I haven't got to relearn and go through the entire syllabus just to fly a Flexwing. Actually, with a bit of difference training, I could be having a bimble around and just floating around in the sky.
So that's obviously touching on the fact that people are seeing Sub70 Flexwing as almost a regeneration of when Flexwings first came in the late 1970s, and they were literally putting strimmer in. Well, not saying strimmer, but most powerful 2-stroke they could get on the back end of it, with a propeller that would turn, not blow up, with a tune pipe, and go, I think we can take off from here. The technology's improved, materials have improved drastically, wing design has improved. It's almost like I've now got my nifty 50 moped. It starts on a button, I can go and use it. Yeah. Do you see that Sub70 is going to have a bit more of, I need to clarify this, Sub70 Flexwing, because Sub70 covers all the light end of the market unlicensed, not deregulated, but unlicensed. Do you see that Sub70 Flexwings are going to have more of an influence on the Flexwing market?
Oh, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think Sub70 in all its classifications are really going to change the MPPL market, which is my sort of world. Yes, you've got the Flexwings, and again, if people are just going in there, going down the single seat route, at some point in their near future, how many times have you been asked, "Oh, will you take me for a fly?" As soon as I passed and qualified, I mean, there was a few that were like, "I ain't getting a plane with you." And I still get that now. I'm like, I am an instructor. I fly for a living. I won't get me in a plane with you.
So I hear a little birdie has told me that you've bought a PB. What was the crazy reason behind that? Because you've got access to so many aircraft in that hangar that, either yours, the schools, or otherwise. Why did, Mark's reasoning? What is Mark's reasoning for buying a PB? Come on.
I flew yours.
You can't blame me for that.
Well, I just had a bit because I haven't actually parted with my money yet. So I've been talking with the guys down there, and it will be getting one. There's no two ways about it. They're awesome, and I've seen a number of machines, and I keep an eye on the Sub70 market and other things that are out there. I have flown some other ones, and I won't mention manufacturers because it'd be unfair. And I must admit, I've walked away from a few going, keep your opinions to yourself and all of that. But the PB, for me, first of all, it's in the right price bracket. They keep the money because they're sought after. You never see a second-hand one up for long. The history and the background of the engineering and the manufacturing couldn't be any better. I sound like an advert for Flylight because I love their, as you can tell, I love their Sky Ranger models. The support that you get from that company is second to none. You can ring them up and ask for advice and come away having learned something. They're affordable, and they're just a really, really great company to work with. I'm sure there are others out there that are cheaper, or this one might go faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want an all-round everything, and add an element of customization onto it, and
I'll come on to that in a second, actually. Yeah. Is there going to be any customized? Because clearly, I'll come on to 2 points in a minute, but clearly, you don't do normal in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the engine in that cowling is just magnificent, isn't it? You'll have to send me a picture, and I'll show everyone what that engine looks like, and I'll overlay it on the screen now. If you're happy to,
not letting anybody see. Yeah,
you're not. They'll see it one day. And clearly, it's going to come in the unique custom colors, isn't it? It's not going to be anything bland like anyone else's, boring yellow and black like mine.
I don't think yours is boring. I do quite like the color schemes, but you sit there, and I think we're in that world where we enjoy an element of customization. We enjoy knowing that one is mine and it's different than everybody else's.
Yeah.
So, we've got a few plans.
Yeah.
We fortunately have built quite a nice team around us. So we've got some good powder coaters.
You've talked about plans, and that was the other point I was going to come on. Where is Airways heading? We're in a very strange time. The last 12 months have been very strange, especially for the training and aviation industry, especially at the lighter end. What are your plans for the future? Where is Airways going, and other aspects of Darley Moor?
Well, good question. We obviously have been working hard behind the scenes. The Airways has been here for nearly 35 years, and of a short time that I've been here as well, so it's got huge history, huge support, and great backing from people like yourself, and there's a great team. So during lockdown, we've pretty much been developing the airfield, looking at different avenues of getting into. So we started messing around seriously with kites, after being talking about it for years. We do want to go down the sort of power parachute route again. And really we tend to get led down the avenues of what people are asking for. If someone turns around and goes, I want to learn how to fly a power parachute, then yeah, we can do that because we've got,
because there aren't that many places in the UK you can do it now, is there?
Not at all. No. We are one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's but that you kind of follow the demand. So the airfield's had a huge regeneration whilst we've had the time. We've got a huge workshop and maintenance facility being built as we speak. That's hopefully going to come online just as we come out of lockdown.
What's that going to be used for?
Maintenance, service, repairs, everything from paramotors all the way up to your sports flight aircraft.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds like a big build.
Yeah, it's a monster. I'll send you some pictures. But this is just what we like. It's like, do we sit there and complain about how we're not flying, or do we just use our time to best advantage? And that's kind of where we're going. We've been fortunate to retain our fantastic instructors as well. They're keen to get back in the air, but it's going to be tough for a lot of flying schools.
I think if I could sum it up from what you've told me, that the routes are, you can go down the BHPA route if you just want to get in the air and, like you said, fly local, fly bimball, and have fun. And if you want to use it as a stepping stone, which is effectively how I've done it as well, you can go down the BMA route, which then requires more lessons. But those initial lessons are all kind of lessons in the bank, aren't they? They're not. You've got to go and do anything again. Yeah. So anyone that's watching this and is considering going down the Flexwing route, those are the routes that has pretty much come out of this discussion. Having flown for a long time, a little bit longer than Mark, but on many other things, and probably not to the same high standard that he does, I would say that any form of aviation, and I think someone said it to me, that the cost of the lessons is generally cheaper than the first repair of when you crash the aircraft. And I always hold that in the back of my mind, because you don't know what you don't know. Thank you, Mark, for your time. I know you're a very busy man despite lockdown. Can you get that aircraft finished in the background, please? It's sat there far too long now.
Hurry up, I think is the word you're looking for.
Hurry up, yeah. Hurry up. Crack on. Crack on, Lofty. Okay. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate you're a very busy man. I wish yourself and everyone at Darley Moor that we can get through this time and we can all get back to flying again. And hopefully one day I will end up back at Darley Moor to be able to fly off around the local area with my Sub70 Flexwing, aka PV. Okay, Mark, thank you very much. And so we'll end this interview here. I hope that's been useful to those that are wanting to look at Sub70. And until next time, everybody, fly safe.